रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन है, उदयवान सर है, ठीक है। फर्स्ट जो पेपर वाला था उसको स्टार्ट करेंगे। पहले छुट्टी में कॉल अवेलेबल है कि नहीं? वो तो है, लेकिन अभी स्टार्ट ये पेपर आई डी 214 कर लेंगे, उससे बात में कौन
मिस्टर प्रदीप कुमार।
नाम मिस्टर प्रदीप है ना
जी।
प्रदीप, ठीक है। 214 है तो इनको जस्ट रेडी हो गया, बोल दो एसी में बोल एडमिट कर दीजिए, एडमिट करो। छुट्टी में कोई बोल दो एक बार, स्टार्ट हो रहा है। पहले उदय सर का ही करा लेते हैं। बोल देते हैं
माइक नहीं है। हेलो।
माइक में इट्स टाइम
इसी सीक्वेंस में नहीं।
हाँ देख लें जो आ रहे हैं।
हेलो। हेलो मैम, मॉर्निंग मैम। Am I audible? Yes ma'am. Okay ma'am. Good morning everyone. Welcome to International Conference on Advanced in Science, Engineering and Technology. I am Soumya Singh, Assistant Professor from Department of Computer Application. Honored to be your moderator for today's session. We are delighted to have you here with us for what promises to be an enlightening and engaging event. Today we have gathered experts from IT and Engineering Department and to share their insight and experience. We hope to explore and discuss various experts these topics throughout our session. Now without further ado, let's get started. It's my pleasure to introduce session chair for Dr. Gitika Nidhi ma'am from Integral University Lucknow and Dr. Shruti Rastogi BPAU Lucknow ma'am. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Gitika Nidhi ma'am and Dr. Shruti Rastogi ma'am leading this session. I want to extend a warm welcome to our participants joining us both in person and online. We are excited to have such a diverse and engaging audience. Our first author is Dr. Udayvan Tripathi sir on title her Prediction of Stock Price Comparative Study Between Moving Average and Long Short Term Memory Model. So, thank you sir.
यहाँ पे
Hello? Udaybhan, sir?
Yes, I'm audible, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Udaybhan Trivedi, professor at IT department at ICASET Kanpur. And the topic of my paper presentation is prediction of stock price, the comparative study between the moving average and LSTM model. And I took Google stock price for calculation purpose and uh, utilize root mean square matrix for the evaluation of this overall performance of predictive model. I'm just sharing my screen. Just wait. I think this is not this is not which I want to share. Just camera. Ma'am, I think the file is visible. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes. Yes, it is
uh,
visible.
so the paper topic is prediction of stock price, comparative study between moving average and to short term and long short term memory. The paper consists of these section: abstract, introduction, proposed model, result and discussion, and conclusion. So as we already know that financial market, the I tools has performs a very important role in the financial market prediction. And this paper actually utilize LSTM model and a moving average model and compare the predictive ability of these two models. Generally, I took the closing price data of Google stock between January 1, 2013 to November 15, 2023. Data analysis uses 50 days, 100 days, and 200 days moving average to predict the closing price of Google stock and calculate the root mean square for performance evaluation. The prediction of stock price uh, between November 16, 2023 and February 20, 2024. Uh, RMSE root mean square error has been calculated, and we find out that the root mean square error of moving average is far above than the root mean square, which is calculated by LSTM model. So generally, LSTM model is a type of RNN itself, but the problem of vanishing gradient or exploding gradient is not with lies with the LSTM model. It utilizes basically three gates in order to sustain the information for longer period of time and forget the information if required. The gates are forget gate, input gate, and output gate. Uh, Generally, forget gate is forgetting the old information from the long-term memory. Input gate saving the new information to the long-term memory, and output gate is actually final information which retrieved from the cell. And this LSTM is consist of parallel connection of various uh, LSTM cells. Forget gate, the information should be removed from cell state. That is actually passed to the forget gate. The hidden state of the previous timestamp and the current input passes to it, and sigma activation function actually makes this value between 0 to 1, and the information which we need to forget is actually multiplied by the 0, and the information which we want to keep is 1. So that's why the sigma activation function has been working as a filtered criteria. The input gate actually perform as a new entrant to the cell. The information which is recently used, and if we want to put these informations to the cell state, we can utilize input gate for this purpose. The candidate memory, it's actually passes the two value to the 10H activation function, and we all know that 10H function maps the data between -1 to 1. To obtain the relevant information required from output 10H, we multiplied it by the output of the sigma activation function. And finally, the output gate, which returns the hidden state of next time instant. The output gate has two parts. The first part is sigma function, and they serve the same purpose as other two gates to decide the percentage of relevant information. I am actually showing the proposed model. Uh, uh, we are utilizing the simple moving average without any weight, and we are utilizing 50 time stamp, 100 time stamp, and 200 time stamp, and simultaneously root mean LSTM model and compare the performance. So we start data exploration and pre-processing, data splitting, data preparation for LSTM, building LSTM model, train the model, model prediction, and compare the moving average with LSTM, and that is overall model. Data splitting. The entire data set of the Google stock price was taken between 1st January 2013 to 15 November 2023. Total 2,737 days of the record. 80% of the entire set, that means 2,189 days of the closing price, has been used for the training of the machine, and remaining 20%, 540 days closing price for the testing of the LSTM model. Data preparation and building the LSTM model. The model uses uh, four LSTM layer and implementation dropout in between for the regularization. Regularization is very important, and I utilize dropout method for regularization. The number of unit assigned to LSTM parameter is 50, 60, 80, and 100 on each layer respectively, and dropout is of 20, 30, and 40 and 50% respectively at each layer of LSTM model. Train the model. The entire data set of the Google stock price was taken between January 1, 2013 and 15 November 2023. Total 737% days for the training purpose, and 2,189 days closing price has been utilized for the training purpose. Hyper parameter were selected for the optimization. We utilize ReLU activation function at each layer. Layer 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been allocated with 50, 60, 80, and 120 units. An increasing order of dropout from the layer 1 to 4, that is 20%, 30%, 40%, and 50%. The last layer is actually
Sir,
dense network, and there is a
sir,
no dropout.
Dr. Uday Bhavan Tripathi, sir, your slide
Yes,
is
yes.
not moving.
Hello.
Sir, slide is not moving.
God is
Presentation
not.
slide.
I'm now.
Okay, sir.
Hmm, okay. So the model prediction has been done by the root mean square error, and which is calculated by the formula underscore y actual minus y predicted ka whole square oblique n. That means we take square and then average and then take root between the actual calculated value and the calculated value by the model. Then this is the comparison chart, and the root mean square error for moving average of 200 days is 11.628. For 100 days is 7.065, and for 15 days it is 4.667, and LSTM model has 4.458. The same way I also utilize few other metrics, that is mean absolute error and mean absolute percentage error. In all the matrices, the LSTM perform better than their corresponding moving average model, and that is because it is able to learn not only the recent past but also the long past, and give the weighted average of these two and calculate the value. These are the few discussion. I am actually plotting the actual closing price of Google stock along with the calculated price. The actual price has been shown by the green line, and the calculated price by Google by 200 days moving average is shown by the blue line. And uh, uh, if we go through along this plot of 200 days, 100 days, this is the 100 days plot, and 50 days plot is this one. We find out that lesser the moving average days, better the prediction model. What it means that LSTM, when we pass these through the LSTM model, the value of recent past has been assigned more value than the previous one, and the LSTM model actually learned this pattern once the model has been trained on the trained data set. Uh, and calculated the root mean square error versus the predicted moving average of 200 days, 100 days, and 50 days, respectively, and the values is 11.628, 7.068, and 4.667. And for LSTM, the value was 4.458. So, over conclusion, the choice between using moving average or LSTM model is a case specific. Moving average can be simple for those data sets which are stationary in nature. Interpretability and the commutative efficiency are important. LSTM can be utilized for complex non-linear time series data for long-term dependencies. However, model interpretability, robustness, and noisy data set is a future area of research which we need to take care. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, sir, for presenting the paper. First of all, I would like to welcome all the paper presenters, my co-chair, Dr. Shruti Rastogi, Ms. Soumya, for being the moderator. So I think in this particular session we are talking about technology and management and business management and commerce. So you just talked about the prediction of stock price, which remains an important part for a normal person also. But you presented before us the models which can be used to predict the stock markets and all.
Yes.
So, in this presentation, there was a clarity regarding the models which you used, two models which you presented, and the
Yes.
data which you showed with the graphs and all. That was very much clear, and it added on to the concept, or the audience who is here. They must have had some idea about how can a particular model be employed at the to know about the stock market or the variations of the stock, or predict about the stock market aspects. So I just would like to ask the audience if they have any questions regarding it. Yes, yes, please. Okay, so thank you, sir, for your presentation. We'll be moving up to the next presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Dr. Shruti Rastogi, ma'am, any question?
Ma'am, the presentation is very good.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the insightful presentation and discussion. Please welcome our next author, Mr. Pradeep Kumar, sir, on a topic of tracing the digital threads of bibliometric analysis of culture, heritage, and digitalization's effort on a paper ID 214.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. I'm just
Yes.
sharing the screen.
Yeah, Jill.
I think, ma'am, the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
So-
It is not visible.
Okay, I'll share it again, ma'am. Now, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So it is visible.
Okay, sir. Good morning, everyone. My name is Pradeep Kumar. I am Associate Professor in Chandigarh University, and my paper ID is 214. The title of my research is Tracing the Digital Threads, a Bibliometric Analysis of Cultural Heritage Digitalization Efforts. Along with me, my co-authors are Mr. Ramandeep Sharma, Mr. Deepak Kumar Singh, and Professor Pamil. The content of my presentations are introduction, literature review, methodology, results and discussion, conclusion, and future direction. So if we'll talk about cultural heritage, so it is very important and it is creating our identity also. Cultural heritage tells us from where we are. It connects us from our past, and we need to protect it due to some challenges. The existence of cultural heritage is getting diminished. So there are many methods through which we can preserve our heritage. Among it, digitalization is there. With the digitalization evolution, the digitalization came into existence. We have various methods through which we can safeguard our cultural heritage. We have many formats like artifacts and 3D scanning through which we can preserve our heritage and we can pass on it to our next generation. There are many countries which are currently working in this area also. There are many organizations also which are continuously working in this area. Like we have Google Art and Culture that is working on digitalizing the artifacts. We can find out various artifacts of throughout the world on Google Art and Culture. Europeana is also an initiative taken by European Union in 2008 through which the European cultural heritage was preserved in digital form and now they are accessible by European countries. Cyark is also an organization which is continuously working on using digital advanced technology like 3D scanning and photogrammetry to preserve the 3D models of endangered heritage sites. We have some more examples like British libraries turning the pages, which is basically for the document preservations which are fragile in nature. So it is preserving all those documents and those are available to the users also online. So with the advancement of technology, it makes an potential for the heritage to be preserved. For knowing the current state of this heritage preservation, I just look for some literatures and these are the key findings from my literatures, like where there are various challenges also like climate change that is creating risk for cultural heritage. We need to find out the methods which we are using for digital preservation. It might be possible that those methods are also impacting the preservation, impacting the environment also. So we have various technologies as I explained earlier also like virtual reality, 3D scanning, 3D printing, which are being used in the different countries to safeguard the cultural heritage. We have some intangible heritage also that could be gamified. Like we can see Carnival of Podence, where the different characters are created among the public. They are just demonstrating the different aspects of culture. So it is passed on to the current people also that the heritage of particular site is something belonging to that particular audience. So through the literature review, I find out some challenges also like technology obsolescence, like the technology is regularly changing. So it might be possible that whatever we are preserving now, that might be obsolescence or that might not be used in future. We have some biasness also, like if we are attached to a particular heritage, we might show some biasness towards that heritage and we don't show our interest in other heritage. So that might be the challenge also. There might be some challenges that are associated with the copyrights and intellectual property rights of a particular heritage. And there might be some ethical issues also associated with the digitalization process. There might be some lack of resources like the funding and trained staff, technology. So these are also challenges that are affecting the digitalization process. There might be some uneven access of technology throughout the world. And there might be, as I already stated in my previous slides, that there might be some environmental effects also through the infrastructure which we are developing for our digitalization purposes. So for this research, I have selected bibliometric analysis. This is the process which I have adopted. Like the objective of this study is to find out the current state and through literature review and bibliometric analysis to find out the challenges which are there and produce some future directions for researchers. I have selected Scopus database for this research, and the selected terms are like cultural heritage, digitalization. Through these terms, I searched the Scopus database and I found out around 191 articles which are focusing on the same domain. And I filtered that one using the language. Like I selected only the English articles which contributed to 183 articles. Then I analyzed all those articles through R Studio, and after that I made my conclusions according to that findings. So the results and are like this domain is rapidly growing with an growing rate of 13.43, which is showing that there is researchers are showing interest in this domain. And this is a new domain or new field where the researchers are contributing it is average age is 5.4 years. And we can see that digitalization is having a significant impact on cultural heritage preservation, and the articles which are there. So they are having also 3.732 citations per document, which shows the significance of these documents also. We have increasing number of publications specifically for 2021 to 2023 in this domain. The leading countries which are doing more research in these areas are Italy, China, Germany. With Italy and China, that is also leading the overall citation counts. And the important trending words in these area are like historical preservation, cultural heritage, virtual reality, animation, and 3D computer graphics. These are showing that the researchers are using these trends or these terms for researching their for doing their research. The conclusion of my research is that digitalization is a crucial or important tool for preserving and promoting cultural heritage. The growth rate, as I said, is 13.43, which shows that the researchers are growing in this domain rapidly. The leading countries who are working in this domain are Italy, China, and Germany. And these countries are also having highest citation also with their articles. Digital technologies which are being used are virtual reality, 3D modeling, animation, and 3D scanning, which are being used for safeguarding and preserving our cultural heritage. There are initiatives by different organizations like Google Art and Culture, Europeana, SciArc that have made significant progress in digitalizing the heritage sites. Of course, there are some challenges that are associated with this digitalization process. The field is relatively new, and the average age is 5.4 years. And continued collaborations among cultural institutes and further advancement in this technology holds a promising future where the cultural heritage is widely accessible and appreciated globally. Some of the future directions which I found out through the literature review and bibliometric analysis are like there is a need of further inquiry for ethical aspects which are associated with preservation of cultural heritage. There need to be some exploration about effectiveness of digital preservation techniques, as we said that it should be for long term. As the technology is changing, so it should be for the long term. Which technology we can use that could be preserved for a long term. Exploring the use of new advanced technologies like virtual and augmented reality could increase public interest also, as we can see if the public is participating in preservation, it could be preserved more. And we can also develop strategies for equitable and sustainable digitalization process that respect cultural authenticity throughout the world. Thank you, ma'am. This is from my side. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, sir, for taking up such a topic in which you can easily correlate technology with the physical aspects, right? Those physical aspects which are ignored. So, whatever sustainability regarding the ancient resources which we are having, we can use technology. So, the way you presented your paper in which you did the process of bibliometrics, that was very much clear. The ideas, the conclusions which you presented for the reviews and data you collected, that was also very clear. And the suggestions which you did give were, I think from my side, it was very much applicative for seeing the changes which can be observed. So the last conclusion or suggestion which you did give, that it should be more public must be knowing about it. So that
Yes,
was
ma'am.
overall a very good thing which you presented. Yes, Dr. Shruti, you may ask something, anything you have
Yes,
to say.
ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, ma'am. All suggestions are incorporated by you, ma'am. And I think a very good presentation. So thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Okay. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful presentation and discussion.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Can I leave now, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you lead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Please welcome our next author, Mr. Moez Akhtar sir, on her topic empowering women socio-economic upliftment through self-help group, the role of information and communication technology, and paper ID 222.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone present here. I'm Dr. Moise Akhtar, Associate Professor in the Department of Business Management in Kickville University. Today, I'm here to be a part of this international conference. My paper ID is 222. I'm focusing on the title that is Empowering Women Socioeconomic Upliftment Through Self-Help Groups, the Role of Information and Communication Technology. So what we are going to discuss in this paper, or what we have studied in this paper, actually this paper has been segregated into 3 sections. That section is comprising of first, what is the women empowerment, what is the role of self-help groups, and what is the role of ICT in upliftment of women. So the study is basically carried out in Lucknow. The respondents were near about 388, whereas in the SSD groups of 30 respondents, the study taken out in Bakshitala, Chinhat, Mayabad and Kakori. The respondents were from rural areas, near about 388. Correct questionnaires were filled out. What is basically done in this paper is we are talking about how the women who are working in rural area can be uplifted through the use of SHG groups and the role of ICT in their upliftment. So what is going to be held in this presentation? I have covered this presentation into 5 segments. That is introduction about the what is ICTE and self-help groups, role of ICTE, what is the proposed model, and what are the various strategies that is to be shown as in the form of results or discussion, and last is the conclusion. Starting with by the SHG, that is self-help groups, the role in functioning of women empowerment. Actually, the self-help groups is a combination of more than 10 women in a group who is self-employed. They have made this combination and they are working together with an association with any government organization or any NGO. So they can help together and get the kind of resources in terms of literacy, in terms of financial resources. As the first point says that self-help groups is basically working on the resources and the seek financial support. That basically what they are doing, they are providing the financial support for the upliftment of women. Second says that how these financial assistance is improvising in the upliftment of women. So what they are doing, they are creating a support system. They are creating a social tie-ups with different villages, different communities, and through which they are bringing the earning to their life. And third one, what is SDG is commonly doing, they are providing basically the trainings to these women. These training basically focusing on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, skill development, and etc. Otherwise, the role of SSG is just to bring money for those women who are economically weak. So after collecting this data, I have applied some tools on that. That tools are basically ANOVA and multiple regression, through which I came to this observation that the role of ICT in upliftment of the women says that it can be categorized into 4 sections. These 4 sections were based on some parameters, or you can say these are the factors on which the data has been collected. The first parameter is bifurcated into 2 parts. That first parameter says about the access to the job market. Any kind of training that has been received from the SSG and how they are incorporated through ICT and how they are getting that job, that is the first part. Second is how they are building their entrepreneurship. Basically, in rural areas, now people are working on their handmade goods. Majority of these people are moving towards such platform where these handmade goods can be publicized or commercialized. Second parameter is to get the training and creating a vision for a vast development. This vast development is basically focusing on moving from village to global. This was not seen way back 20, 30 years back, that any woman who is crossing the limits of his or her territory and moving towards globally. Let's take an example in current scenario, the big platform of Flipkart, Amazon, where handmade goods are being sold out. These handmade goods are being brought from these women which are used for the upliftment. Third point, again bifurcated into 2 parts, that says the increased average household of income and income increase in the social awareness. What is the role of social awareness? As discussed earlier, the main role of self-help group is to aware other women what they are doing in their territory. And last is the importance of ICT, that is information and communication technology role in improving the governance, that is e-governance, how they are marketing, how they are going from market to market, how they are going to business, and indigenous knowledge, increase in the knowledge of the women. Now, this is the proposed plan, what as per the guidelines given by the computer application department, that we have to propose some typical plan, which is a proposed plan, which is not already implemented. So what plan I'm talking about of this paper is that there are some variables which are independent and dependent. When we are talking about independent variables, these variables are related to the women's, that can be related to their socio-economic conditions. What are those socio-economic conditions? It can be their education, it can be their income, it can be their socio condition, it can be their community condition, anything. So first parameter when we are talking about the proposed model independent variable is how much educated that woman is, the type of information that she wants, the purpose of access, the level, the time that she is able to devote it in that particular gaining ICT tool, and last but not the least, what is the age of that woman. If that woman is near about 30-year age, the focusing on ICT tool is much more easier, because any woman who is older in age, they might not understand what is the use of ICT. So now this was the part of independent variables. Now comes how it is being implemented. ICT tools, how it is being implemented, and how it is showing the dependent variables. From getting the training, it can gain a skill and knowledge from the various tools. Now this skill and knowledge can be segregated or spread in 5 different aspects. First aspect is talking about the material status, how change is being carried out. Second is the cognitive change. This cognitive change is talking about the change in from present to learning from the mental process, how it is being carried out. Third is perceptual change. What is the perceptual change? It means what you are being perceived from this knowledge. Fourth is a relational change, and 5 is what change has been made pre and post of technological change. If we are comprising all these 5 factors, 5 factors will result into the empowerment of the woman. So this is basically 2 sections, a proposed section where independent variables are working together for along with the ICT tools, and the second section is the empowerment of the woman. Now, as results of that paper says, which is in terms of number, if I'm representing the number, it is not of use that what numbers represent. That numbers represent some policies and some strategies related to recommendation for the use of ICT. What these strategies or the recommendation given by the this research paper, that number 1 says that everyone who is associated with this group should have access to ICT tools, but this access should be cheap. Doesn't mean very expensive tools are being used for the empowerment of women. Second, affordable personal ICT device to be given to the women. Third, if any SG groups is working on that, then should provide the training for the women in terms of providing the jobs. Fourth, offering a scholarship. Now the question arises, whether this self-help group are going to provide the scholarship? No. These self-help group will be associated with some NGOs or some government bodies who will be providing the scholarship. Scholarship to female children, and to those women who might be divorcing, or they might be having a situation where are financially very weak. In part of that scholarship, they have to conduct some awareness program also. What is this awareness program? We are talking about the awareness program for those women who are not having any social awareness, so that they can come into this part and get some knowledge. Fifth is a language. Whenever the government policies are being made, the language might be a barrier. So you have seen that many of the times whenever these policies are being launched, they are launched in different languages. English, the native language, the reason behind it. So whosoever is reading this particular policy, are they able to understand? And last one is, what is the funding demand and what is the women demand that is requiring this particular policy or its strategy. So this is all over about what the people think about this women empowerment related to the help of ICT tools. Now, coming to the conclusion of this entire research paper, we come to this end that SHG groups a vital role in empowering the managerial aspect as well as the financial aspect of the women. The study reveals that women have acquired social as well as cost-effective authority, which distills many villages, shows that man has to face the field observation, whereas female will be looking after the home. So this concept is little bit changing day by day because of the self-help groups. This is increasing a woman confidence and autonomy for that decision-making power for the women. Second comes, this was the part of SSG. Now comes the role of ICT. Majority of entrepreneurship working in the working with women is working with the help of these tools. So first aspect that this paper says that if we are giving the training to the women who are illiterate, they might get some jobs related to their level of education. Second, if we are inviting the ICT tools or training to the women, it might face some difficulty. That is the last point. Gender biasness or gender politeness on the ICT tools. Because still in villages or in some rural urban areas, we have seen that it is male dominating structure is there. So if we have to remove that myth, we have to come with some technological based concept that is energizing ICT with a women empowerment. So this was about the concept of ICT and women empowerment.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You just added a new dimension to today's presentation. That is technology, use of technology for women empowerment. You discussed about the SHT groups. You also proposed the model which could be applicated for the further sense, and also the drawbacks. So it was all in one, a complete whole of a paper with problem, solution, and suggestions. So thank you, sir.
Please welcome our next author, Mr. Divesh Dutt sir, on a topic of an in-depth analysis of the impact of microfinance on agriculture revenue in Uttar Pradesh, India, on a paper ID 267.
Very good morning, all. Morning, Chair. Myself, Divesh Dutt from Department of Business Management, Integrated Business School. My topic for the presentation is an in-depth analysis of the impact of microfinance on agricultural revenue in Uttar Pradesh. Basically, microfinance are the industries or the organizations which are basically forming a group of people who are helping the small farmers or the people who just need the fund within a small margin. These organizations maybe in the earlier it was recognized as a informal way. Why? Because these were the organizations which are basically represented as a munshis and all that. But as the later time changes and as the time grew, the organization has started registering themselves. In the analysis, in this representation, I will be introducing about the microfinance and the objective of my studies and outcome of the same thing, because in this model is basically not proposed by any of the papers which have been seen since last year. About I have studied 105 papers in which every theoretical aspect has been found that everybody is giving us some of the theoretical aspect related to that model. So I will be presenting my way of this microfinance. In Uttar, microfinance is basically a short-term processing loan company which provides a loan to the farmers and the needy people who are working for basically small purpose. It may be in kind of agriculture, buying seeds, buying any kind of agriculture byproduct or any kind of agro products that can be needed for the selling purpose. Later on, analysis have been conducted where people used to borrow money in villages from many of the peoples, like family, friends. These are the very known ways where people used to get the money. But later on, farmers used to take money from the banks. Banks are the houses where used to farmer get the money. But there are few things that come to notice that banks used to charge a particular interest, though the government is pursuing many of the policies and many of the great things that can be helped to the farmers to get upon it. But then to farmer needs many kind of loan that has to be needed at the some of the time. Like if he has gone for the taken the loan from the bank and he has started producing going for the agriculture purpose, but in the meantime he needs some of the fund that could be needed for the contingent purpose. So in that case, he won't be getting back to the bank. The bank will be saying, no, your tenure is not required this time to propose you a loan. So you may go and contact anywhere. In that time, these microfinance institutes basically help the farmers to come and take a loan. Later on, we have also researched many of the microfinance institutes. In that, we have found there are according to the NABARD report, I found that there are nearly about 268 microfinance institutes in India, out of which RBI has registered only 97 institutes. That means only 268, the rest of the institutes are running on the private mode. In UP, in Uttar Pradesh, we are having only 57 microfinance institutes, into which 37 are registered under RBI, that are licensed. Now, according to my opinion and the suggestion that I have conducted in this, my objective is to research the history of microfinance in India and as well see the state in the state of Uttar Pradesh. There are many microfinance institutes. We have the popular name that is Bandhan Bank. Today it is mainly working in the banking sector, but earlier it has started its organization as a microfinance institute. We have found that in the past history, in the 1990s and 2000 basis, microfinance has gradually grown like a mushroom. But later on, it has if it is growing like a mushroom, then it is creating some of the illegal practices in the society too. But some of the good practices were also conducted, like they have been created and improving access to the credit of the farmers, supporting agriculture development, empowering rural communities, promoting gender equality. Most of the often because if we talk about the gender equality, the women used to get microfinance very easily than the men. It is not because because women used to have the courage to manage that small token of amount in a very good purposes. And last, reducing dependence on informal credit. Like illegal practices are still going on related to the microfinance. In this, I have conducted. These are there. Moderate level of awareness are there in microfinance institute. People in UP, as you all know, there is a rate of literacy and all the things are being considered. Microfinance institutes are available, but people are not aware that what kind of work actually these microfinance institutes are doing. They still think that these institutes are conducting some of the malpractices due to which people are not going to here and buying or taking their product, as they feel insecure most of the time, and they see if I used to take money from them, I will be basically threatened and I will be basically captured in some of the bad practices. Apart from them, high interest rate from informal leaders and complex application procedures are the major barriers. People used to take money from the people who in the villages, which they are knowing very well. Then too, they are offering on the high credit, but they will not ready to move to a particular institute which they are offering at the lower rate because they think it is not the purpose is behind it of the insecurity. Apart from that, farmers express their need that are growing day by day gradually, but their needs are not being covered in every aspect by the microfinance system. The lack of funding has negatively impacted the agriculture productivity as people are having the land in UP, but they are not having the popular finance facility, and that is why the agriculture productivity is going day by day regularly. Apart from that, my conclusion is that about 66% of the population in UP is of the agriculture purposes has been basically blessed by the microfinance system. But later on, it has been provided that there is a general district of microfinance in the mind of the people of the Uttar Pradesh that their purpose would not be solved according to their uses, and they will be providing not a sufficient amount of loan to the people. However, farmers has recognized the potential of the microfinance route, and banks are also gradually working in this area to work to know and to make aware about the microfinance route. Many of the in the recent time, many of the banks like State Bank of India, and many of the Punjab National Bank has made a tie-up with the private microfinance institute, and they have collaborated most of them so that people where bank can't reach to the people, these microfinance route reach the people and offer them a particular amount so that they can have an interest in that and they can carry on with the popular goods. Thank you from my this side.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir. It was, I just felt touch with this topic personally, like you have experienced something like that.
But my PhD is on that.
Yeah, so that connection was already there. So the topic which you did take or on which you proposed your paper, that was a very required topic in the context of India related to, because most of the people are in agriculture and they lack economic resources. That's must, and that was visible in your paper. And the way you just put in the data regarding what the truth is, right? Regarding how much, how many are registered and how many actually exist, how many are authentic. So that was nice. And I think if this kind of a paper is generalized, everyone gets to know about it. So general knowledge or general perception can be increased. Okay, thank you.
मैडम मोमेंटो एक तो ऑनलाइन एक ही होगा.
Thank you to all our authors for their insight and presentations.
And please come. एक फोटो ले लेते हैं. समय जरा फोटो ले लेते हैं. आयुषा
Thank you.
इसको एक काम करना, इसको बंद नहीं करना, क्योंकि अभी अगला सेशन भी
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We have had the privilege of hearing from distinguished experts engaging in thought-provoking discussion and exploring innovation ideas, and your contributions and active participants have been invaluable. Thank you once again for being a part of this event. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
फोटो लेना स्वामी. आपका वो कब है?